Welcome to the 2023-2024 Premier Sports Officials Association Preseason Basketball Meeting. We're going to go through the PowerPoint here for those who weren't able to attend live in audience at Westside High School or via the live stream. That way it's a little bit more clear and you get to see the PowerPoint with all the information. So with no further ado, the agenda we have here for this meeting. We're going to go over Nebraska School Activities Association registration for varsity basketball officials, our Premier Sports Officials Association team expectations, our PSOA education program, and you're going to be able to download this PowerPoint in Arbiter under List and Forms. All right, but just so everyone is aware, this is going to be our main platform this year. All right, so whenever we have training videos, it's going to be under videos here. Daily shorts. So right now it's football, and then later in October, definitely in November, we're going to have basketball shorts. If we do have live meetings throughout the basketball season, this is where you're going to have the link. You're going to be able to view the meetings live if you can't meet in attendance. And then our daily rules questions. All right, so it's under community. Sometimes it'll be NCAA. Sometimes it'll be federation. Majority of the time it will be federation based. But if we get questions from our audience about NCAA rules, I'll always post it NCAA or NFHS, which is high school. All right, so this is going to be our main education platform throughout the year. We're asking everybody to like and subscribe. And as they meet other officials, meet other coaches, meet fans, encourage them to like and subscribe the YouTube channel. Because as it says up here, educating sports officials, coaches, players, and fans in all sports. So we have information sharing, understanding what the rules, mechanics, philosophies are with the overall intent. Everybody gets an understanding, and we have less unsporting behavior. Then we'll go over the power of positive communication, our NFHS new rules, points of emphasis, our assigning process for the season, and then that will be the end of this preseason video. We are going to post a couple more videos on how to use arbitersports.com, and then the 7 common fouls in high school basketball, and then the common violations. That way, again, we want to continue educating all fans, coaches, officials, and put it on our YouTube channel. So with no further ado, NSAA registration. This is for any official. Definitely, if you want to work varsity basketball, you have to register NSAAhome.org. If you are already assigned to varsity games, I hope your registration is done. If you hope to work varsity games, you want to get this registration done. Even if you aren't given varsity games at the beginning of the season, things always change. So if you're not registered, an assigner cannot use you. If you take time to register, you are always now available and able to be assigned that varsity game. If you're right on the fence, do I register? Do I not register? I'm not really looking to do varsity, but new officials, it's only $10. You get a rule book, you get a case book, you get an official's manual. You're going to get weekly emails regarding rules, points of emphasis, and you'll be part of the distribution list to be contacted by athletic directors and other assigners throughout the state for opportunities to work varsity basketball. So if you're hoping to get varsity games, register. If you already are assigned to varsity games, hopefully your registration is done. And then if you're on the fence, again, it's $10 investment. At minimum, you're going to get your money back on the education material. So how to do it? Click on NSAAhome.org. Click over officials login. If you don't have an account already, you're going to have to create an account to put in your username and password. If you already have an account, this is what it's going to look like. And then if you're not registered for basketball already, it takes you to the registration page, or you just go to sport registration and you enter the sports you want to officiate. All right, so right now as a new official for basketball, wrestling, swimming, it's, again, a new official, $10 per sport. If you're a returning official, it is $50 for years 3 through 24. So just like any other registration, any questions about it, feel free to reach out to myself at psoa@premiersportsofficials.com. Varsity officials, a couple important dates. Part 1 test is due November 17th. And our online rules meeting, I believe, opens October 23rd, and it will be free until November 15th. At our education meetings, we are going to go over the Part 1 test. We're going to go 15 questions, 20 questions. So that is NSAA registration for varsity basketball officials. All right, our main focus this year, or theme, shall you say, we are hoping to compare and contrast basketball officials being part of a team. You know, we always say there's 3 teams out there: the home team, the visiting team, and then the officiating team. And if you have played in a basketball team before, if you have coached a basketball team before, there's a lot of stuff that goes on off the court, away from the game, that allows that team to be successful on the court in the game. Same thing as officials. So when we get to a court, we always ask the coach, are the players legally and properly equipped? Every single game we should have a meeting with the coach. We ask those questions. And you want to what? Take a look at yourself in the mirror. Are you legally equipped? If you're a varsity basketball official, you're going to have a black warm-up jacket. If you're only working youth basketball, all black shorts, majority black shoes, all black socks. You don't want to stand out for any negative reason. All right, we're there to be part of a team of PSOA, of sports officials, and you don't only represent yourself, you represent the whole entire team. So take pride in that, take ownership in that. All right, so people ask, where can I get uniforms? I go to purchaseofficials.com, I go over basketball. Here's our shirts. All right, our high school shirt is 1-inch black and white stripe with no collar. I know that NSAA does not want an American flag, so when you order it, you want to get one without an American flag. That is the recommendation for NSAA. And I am trying to see if there is an NSAA shirt at Purchase Officials. Because if there's a sublimated shirt for varsity, NSAA, there it is. All right, so you got the NHSOA logo, NSAA patch, and no American flag. All right, so you got $45.99 for a new shirt. And we're going to get into the discount code in a little bit. Here's your pregame jackets. If you come to our rules meetings here the next few weeks, or a 3-person clinic, or an on-court training session, as long as you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you're going to get a PSOA Fox 40 whistle and lanyard. So if you attend our education, subscribe to our channel, you get a free whistle. Pants. All right, a lot of people are going to the 4-way stretch pants. So here's a Smitty 4-way, $59.99. They do come unhemmed, so you could either order it with them hemming it, or you could have it delivered to your house and then go to a local tailor and get it hemmed. Or if you know somebody in your family that hems it, you could save yourself $10 to $12 there. All right, so this is the main place online. It's the best quality for the best price, is what I keep on telling our officials for purchaseofficials.com. And new discount code for the basketball season, PSOA24, all capital, no space. And then I believe it's a 10% discount with free shipping. All right, so again, we require the players to be legally equipped, shirt tucked in, to play the game. We as officials have to hold ourselves to the same standard, if not a higher standard, to be part of the PSOA team Fox 40 whistle, majority black shoes, black socks, 1-inch striped shirt, no collar, shirt tucked in. Team registration / tryout. So at the end of this meeting, I have a QR code. That's how you join PSOA. Whether you're joining a Pell League team, a CYO team, a Travel Select AAU team, you have to register for that team. It just doesn't happen. So I get your information. You give me the level of basketball you're willing to work, and then we get you to the assigning process. All right. So it's not done automatically. We need you to fill out that QR code. When we talk about tryout, high school is going to start here in 3 weeks. There are some players who have already made the varsity team. They have been in the program for 3 years. They're seniors. They started last year. They're on the varsity team. We do have officials at PSOA. They've worked multiple state tournaments. They've been officiating 10 to 15 years on our varsity roster. They don't have to try out for varsity. They've made our varsity team. So our expectation, though, is if you are a new official, you're going to have to do practice, do training before we just let you out there on your own. All right, we do have a 2-hour on-court training session where we use a middle school doubleheader or 2 games during a youth tournament. You observe the first half, you shadow the second half, you work the third half while the veteran official is shadowing you, and then the last half, the veteran official is going to let you go, and as long as you give them access to your phone, they're going to record you and give you notes and feedback on positioning, on mechanics, on signals, and on the overall presentation that you give. So that is how you try out with PSOA. New official, 2-hour on-court training session, so you get access to self-assign. You have a foundation. Varsity official, we have 3-person clinics you're going to be able to register for with the QR code. You have to show us that you are ready for that varsity team. Next thing, once you register for a team, you try out and make a team, now you have to practice. Again, high school practices 2.5 weeks before their first jamboree. Colleges have been practicing now for 6 weeks before their first tip. We as officials need to put in our time to practice. Our drills, our skill development is rulebook, is mechanics manual, is practicing signals in a mirror, is working those sub-varsity middle school youth games before that first varsity game to get in cardiovascular shape. Right? Again, we have to prepare for the season just like a player is preparing for the season. So that is going to be our X's and O's. Imagine if a player makes a team, doesn't show up to practice, doesn't practice the offense, doesn't practice the defense. Are they going to be successful in the first game? No, they don't know the X's and O's. They don't know the defenses and offenses. So if you're just joining our team and you don't know the rules, mechanics, signals, and you go out and work your first game, you're probably not going to have a lot of success. All right, just like a player wouldn't have a lot of success. And that's what we're trying to prevent. We want you to do the X's and O's now so you have success when you start working your games. Our next team expectation is compete. Compete for positioning. We're not going to beat the ball players every single time down the court on a fast break, but we should compete. We should try. We should be able to keep up that pace of the play as best as we can. And you want to know what? If we can't, what's the secondary positioning to see plays? We want to compete to communicate to avoid confusion. All right, so if I go up with an open hand, which is a violation, but then I report a foul, that brings confusion. Confusion over and over and over again will lead to frustration. Eventually, people get so frustrated, now we have unsporting behavior. All right, so I always have a challenge to myself, to my crew. We need to be able to communicate. Not saying our judgment is going to be correct 100% of the time. That's not what we're talking about here. We need to communicate very clearly what our judgment is, and our judgment is explaining what the players did. If we explain what the players did very clearly, it's going to prevent confusion. You're going to have disagreements, but you're not going to have the frustration because people got the information. And then the last one is no misapplication of rules. Right? We have a new rule this year with free throws. We have a new rule this year with inbounds. All right? We need to practice. We need to compete to review those new rules, review the old rules, so we don't have a misapplication of a rule throughout the season. And our last expectation, be the best you can be. Yes, you have role models. You have officials you look up to. As a basketball player, people look up to LeBron James. But it's not fair to compare yourself to LeBron James. It's not fair to compare yourself to the best official. Model yourself, but be the best you can be in that game, that day, that moment. All right, so yes, I want to be better than I was the last game. Sometimes I will be, sometimes I won't be. But at that moment in that day, I'm going to challenge myself as a player. I am going to be the best I can be in what I can control in that day. All right, so again, our theme this year, you'll hear me say it over and over again, is we are the third team. Let's hold ourselves to those same team standards as players and coaches are going through during the preseason, developing through the season, and being the best official we can be at the end of the season when it matters the most. All right, education. We've shown the YouTube channel already. Again, this link is still live. The home gives us all of the posts in order. If you only want to watch previous videos, right now it's all football, and then there'll be some basketball as we continue our education. And our shorts. We have one play every single day, football now, transition at the end of October for basketball. And then when we have live meetings, we're going to be able to have you join us live on our YouTube channel. So if you're living in Norfolk, if you're living in California, you're living in Florida, you're obviously not going to take a plane for a 90-minute meeting in Omaha, Nebraska. All right. We want people to have access to these rules, to the mechanics, to the signals as we break down game film and as we answer the NSAA rules test. We will do this for the Part 1 test and Part 2 test. With this education, education is only solid if we share it with others. Right? So if there is something that you learned in this meeting, if there's something that you learned in the October 16th meeting, share it with others. Right? Share this video with others through the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, share. The more we understand the rules, the mechanics, the signals, the philosophies the same, and we're saying the same words. Yes, judgment will be different. That's fine. But we're saying the same consistent words. We're going to see less unsporting behavior. And that's really a huge goal of our education program. So when is our education program going to continue? Monday, October 16th, 7 o'clock to 8:30. We have the NSAA rules. We're going to do the first 15 questions on the Part 1 test. And then I'm going to pick a random video breakdown from the state tournament last season, maybe a couple of videos. And then we're going to continue Wednesday, October 18th, 7 o'clock to 8:30, NSAA rules 16 through 30. Pick another game, video breakdown. And then we'll finish with the rules and video breakdown October 25th, 7 o'clock to 8:30. Again, we'll finish the last 20 questions and then pick another game for video breakdown. When we pick the video breakdown, it's going to be random. I don't want people thinking I'm self-promoting any certain official or crew. So that's why it's going to be random. And I'm going to try to use state tournament because those are the best officials in the state. So we want to use them as a model. Sunday, October 22nd, varsity tryouts. Montclair, all right, 3:30 to 8 o'clock. We are going to have crews of 3 work halves. So there's 4 games at Montclair that day. All right, so there's a potential for, 8 different crews of 3 to try out for the varsity team. If we don't have enough tryout for working one half and getting feedback, we'll have officials work a half, sit, work a half, and see development that way. But these are tryouts. Yes, if you're new to 3-person, you can come and learn. Excellent. Love it. But understand, if you are truly trying to get varsity games, we need to know that because we want to give you as much information as we can, because if you make the varsity squad, we want you to have success when you get on the court. And then the second one is Monday, October 30th at Camelot. There's 3 games that evening. If we feel we need more varsity tryouts just because of the amount of people that are trying to get varsity games, I will offer more in the month of November. Next thing we're going to talk about here is power of positive communication. As an official, we don't hear a lot of positive. I get that. I understand that. It's very, again, compared to teams. When you hear coaches coach, do you hear more positive, negative towards officials, more positive, negative towards players? And what makes the great coaches great is the power of positive communication. Yes, we might have to do some warnings. We might have to do some foul calling, which is a negative impact on a person. However, if we use more positive communication, we're going to have a lot more thank yous for being here, ref. I appreciate your willingness to work, ref. I appreciate your hustle. I appreciate you working with our kids. I appreciate you working with our coach. And all it is choosing the positive route. So listening, let the player, coach, partner finish their question or statement. Now think about how many times you have a conversation and somebody cuts you off in the middle of a thought. That's not positive. Let them finish the statement. As you are allowing them to finish that statement, process, understand, why is that person communicating? Are they frustrated at the players? Are they frustrated at the calls? Are they frustrated because maybe they had a bad day and you don't even know they had a bad day, but you're trying to understand? And when we put ourselves into that person's shoes that is communicating with us, if we could start the response with, hey, I appreciate your opinion. This is the rule. I appreciate your opinion. This is what I saw. If you saw it differently from your angle, I could have missed it, but I have to call what I see on my angle. Again, it's that positive communication. Diffusing, answer questions, keep calm, conversational voice, not confrontational voice. When talking and answering the questions while remaining calm, make eye contact. That's going to give you confidence and trust from that player, coach, and partner. And then if it's a true conflict, give options. You know, hey, coach, in my judgment, I had the pivot foot lifting prior to the start of the dribble. Well, I disagree with your judgment, Sean. Well, coach, if you continue to argue this judgment call, you're at risk of giving yourself a technical foul. Your players don't need that. This game doesn't need that. Let's agree to disagree and move on. All right, so whenever you can give options, don't use threats. Threats is negative communication. We want to be in control of the environment without anybody knowing that we have control of the environment, because we're allowing the players, coaches, administrators with the fans to make a choice. This is the behavior that we're seeing. If you continue this behavior, this is the risk or penalty you are going to give yourself. Please stop. Again, that's the best way to diffuse a unsporting conflict resolution situation. Professional, people always ask about facial hair. Yes, there's nothing in a mechanics manual anywhere saying that we can't have facial hair. Just be professional. Have it be clean. Have it be clean cut. It's part of our body language and how we take care of ourselves, how we carry ourselves in uniform, is going to give us that positive communication without even saying a word. All right, smiles, thank yous, no threats, you're welcomes. So many positive professional things we could do when we enter a gym, when we make first communication with players. We talk about youth basketball. Whenever I get to a scores table, whether they have a scorer there or not, or they get somebody from the stands, thank you for helping keep the scores table today. Thank you for running the clock. If there's any questions, during the next end ball, buzz the horn. We'll be able to fix it. If we see any errors, we're going to work together to fix the errors. All right. So it's that positive body language. Thank yous. I'm glad you're here. Even in some tough situations, be thankful, be glad that people are there to help the game. When we have a judgment, be informative. When we get into fouls in another video and through our training, if you could tell a story, it helps people understand your judgment. All right. So in my judgment, I had white 32 displace green 13. In my judgment, I had the defender hitting the shooter's elbow, causing an air ball. In my judgment, I had a muffed pass, not an intentional tap of the ball to the floor. That's why we don't have an illegal dribble. All right, so whatever judgment there is, when you have the ability to now communicate and inform, be informative. Don't be wordy. Don't be long. You're not writing a narrative. You're just a statement of what the player or coach did to have you judge by rule, now the educational, all right, of that situation. So a lot of times you'll hear coaches yell, over the back. Coach, by rule, over the back is not one of the 7 common fouls. If your player gets displaced, I will have a pushing foul for your team. Reach. Coach, by rule, it is legal to reach and slap at the basketball. And what did you see on that, Coach? Well, he hit his hand. All right, it is legal to reach and slap at the ball. And if I judge it to be incidental, that hand is contacting the basketball, that is a reach touching the basketball, not the player's hand. So in my judgment, which I think you saw the same thing, I did see the reach, I did see the contact on the hand, but by rule, since the hand is on the basketball, I don't have a foul for illegal use of hands. And coach would be like, what? And then later on, you get out the rule book, show the coach the rule book. Now they have education. And now they're going to share that with other coaches, with their players, with other officials. And that's the power of positive communication. We have the information, we have the knowledge, share it. It will make the game better for everybody. All right, transitioning to high school new rules. And we focus on the high school new rules because youth basketball, almost all tournaments, all leagues revert back to NFHS basketball rules with exceptions to that tournament, to that league. So we start with this basis. So first off is shot clock operator. If we have a shot clock in Class A and B, all Class A and B games playing against the same class is going to have a shot clock. That clock operator must be at the scores table. I'm assuming the reason for this is there are schools that might not have a staff member to do the shot clock. So they might have an assistant coach, and that assistant coach wants to sit on the bench. They can't sit on the bench. They must be at the scores table manually running the shot clock. Some side notes, if Class C and D schools apply with the state, they can use a shot clock during games. The state just has to approve of it. And then if Class C and D are playing at A and B schools, it's up to the visiting team, the Class C, Class D school. Hey, are we going to use a shot clock? I want to use the shot clock today. Teammates, you can see this picture down here. We have a skirt or a squirt, all right, completely legal. And the styles do not have to be the same. The color and pattern of the uniform must be the same. So her teammates must have shorts with this blue swirl and the rest white. All right. Undershirts. Move over to the other picture. Visiting teams. All right, we're going to use this green jersey. Visiting teams now can always wear black. If this red jersey was like this, they could wear black underneath the red. If it's a blue jersey, they could wear black underneath the blue jersey. It is only for the visiting teams, and all players must match. So it could be all black shirts with the blue jersey, or it could be the dominant color of that blue jersey, and everybody then would be wearing blue. You can't have some wearing blue under blue and black under blue. It has to be the same for all teams. Bonus free throws. This is probably the biggest rule change. When basketball is played, they play in quarters. At each quarter, when a team reaches their 5th foul, the offended team is going to have 2 free throw award. So during Federation high school games, any game playing with 4 quarters, there is no 1 bonus free throw and a bonus free throw award on the make. It is now always 2 free throws made, or 2 free throws to be attempted when a team has 5 fouls in each quarter. Let's say first quarter, team has 7 fouls. That next quarter starts with 0 fouls. All right, so they start over back at 0 each and every quarter. Since overtime is an extension of the 4th quarter, if the team fouls is 5 at the end of the 4th quarter, it will be 2 free throws for every foul in that overtime period. Point of interruption. All right, so in the front court, and it's not out of bounds violation. All right, so we have a foul. We are going to go one of the 4 inbounds spots. So right outside the lane line, underneath basket on both sides, or the 28-foot line on the sideline. And the reason for this is they didn't want to put the offense at a disadvantage because of a defensive foul. All right, so if there's a foul in the corner underneath this dotted line, we don't want to put the defense inbounding the ball in the corner because that's a hard spot to inbound the ball. And it was the defense who fouled. All right, so that's why defense fouls, offense has the ball in the front court. We're going to go to one of the 4 point of interruption designated spots, and it'll be an advantage for the offense to get a good inbounds. You don't have to worry about backcourt violation here, and a lot of scoring opportunities on inbounds plays. But it is still the nearest spot to that designated spot of that foul in the front court. NFHS new rules, throw into the wrong team. You talk about a goal of the season, no misapplication of rules. I also don't want to have a misapplication of giving the ball to the wrong throw-in team. But if I do, the rule was changed. It gives us more time to correct the error. So if I give it to the wrong team, I now have until the first dead ball after the ball comes live to correct our officiating error. So I inbound it to white, and it should be blue's ball. During a 5-second count, I realize it. Boop, 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 boop. Boom, I'm going to give it to the other team. If a shot goes up and it goes in, I cannot now correct it because a made shot is a dead ball. We didn't correct it before the next dead ball. All right, so number 1, anytime we have a whistle and a throw-in, let's communicate clearly where the throw-in designated spot will be and what team will throw it in. Number 2, after a timeout, if we do lose focus, we do lose concentration, we have a larger time window to correct it. At the end of the game, if we inbound it to the wrong team with 17 seconds left, and we notice the error with 9 seconds left in the game, we are going to correct the error, but we do not put time back on the clock. We keep it at 9 seconds and give it to the team that should have had the ball at that spot. So a little tidbit there we could correct the team who has the ball. We cannot put time back on the clock. Out of bounds player. When a player goes out of bounds, that player who goes out of bounds on their own, so they're going around a double screen. It's not they're forced out. It's not that they're tripped out. They went out on their own to gain an advantage, to get around a screen, to get by a defender. All right? They can now not be the first one to touch the ball. So the old rule was once they went out of bounds on their own, a violation should be called. Well, we found a lot of officials not calling that violation because of the intent of the rule. Now they changed the rule to match the intent of the rule with the application of the rule. So if the offense gains an advantage, goes out of bounds on their own, and that player is the first one to touch the ball after they come back, now we have a violation. All right, so you're going to stop the clock open hand, which is the signal 2, and then the over the line is going to indicate we had a player go out of bounds. Points of emphasis: uniforms, equipment, and apparel. Rolling, tucking of the uniform bottoms is permissible, right? As long as they are compliant with all the other rules. So one manufacturer logo could be worn. So if they only roll it once and they have logos around the whole waistband, now it is illegal. Okay? They just have them roll it twice so we don't have any manufacturer logo showing, and we're good. Sleeves, knee sleeves, leg sleeves shall be black, white, beige, or main color of the jersey. All sleeves shall be the same color as headbands, wristbands for all teammates. So they can't have blue headbands, white wristbands, black sleeves. Right? They all have to be the same color. So like we have these leg sleeves here, white. So that means everybody has to be wearing white sleeves, knee sleeves, leg sleeves, wristbands, headbands. This camouflage pant here, that's illegal because it's not one solid color. It's not red. It's not the dominant color of the jersey. And it's not black, white, or beige. All right, so we will not allow this player to wear those camouflage tights. Number 1, because of the color. Number 2, it does not match all of the teammates have to have same color. Bench decorum. Coach's box, 28-foot line, all the way to the baseline/end line. That's a pretty large box. Coach's box does not extend onto the court. I will say I use the coach's box and this bench decorum as a tool in my tool set to help manage the coach, the head coach. I'm going to give the head coach a lot more leeway. And I let them know if they're out coaching their players, they're not doing anything unsporting, I am going to work with them and remind them to remain in the coach's box. I'm not going to turn around and give them a technical foul right away. That's not positive communication. I'm going to remind them, hey, coach, here's a 28-foot line. Now, if the coach is out of his or her 28-foot box and ridiculing my judgment, ridiculing my partner's judgment, or communicating negatively to the other team, right? That's what we have the bench decorum warning for, right? The coach's box is here. Here's your team warning. Please remain in your coach's box. Please remain coaching your team. If you have questions, please find us. We'll be more than happy to ask questions. When it comes to assistant coaches, when it comes to players, again, arguing judgment calls, talking to the other team, it's going to be a quick boop, boop time. We have the bench decorum warning. We have bench decorum warning, white team. Now they know. Team, if you continue this behavior, whatever the behavior was for you to give the warning, they're at risk of getting a technical foul. Please know that you do not have to give a warning if the behavior is demonstrative, if it's baiting, if it's taunting, if it's trash talking, and it's inappropriate. A warning is there to prevent the escalation. If it already escalated straight to that unsportsmanlike conduct, we have player safety involved, we have official safety involved, boom, now you got straight to technical foul. But when we properly use the bench decorum warning, it typically diffuses it and prevents that large outburst and unsporting behavior. So it's there, it's in our tool belt, let's use it as a point of emphasis. Last point of emphasis is end of game communication. We need to communicate with the table when there's less than 1 minute remaining during the timeout. How many timeouts are left for each team? Let the crewmates know that. Let both head coaches know how many timeouts they have and their opponent has. Confirm the possession arrow is correct. Confirm the score and team fouls is correct on the scorebook and the scoreboard. That's two different people doing those jobs. Make sure they communicate and everything is correct. And then if it's very important at the end, we have the lead official, tryout official, both chopping in the clock on an inbounds in the front court. Remind that timer to watch the official inbounding the ball under the basket as a lead official. Because if there's a tip by the defense, they're going to chop in a lot quicker than that trail official. And if we're talking about 0.7 seconds left in a game, that's a huge difference. All right, so have that communication at the end of the game. As a crew, we need to talk who is responsible for the last second shot in the front court. And if there's a quick turnover, is this crew going to automatically switch it to the new opposite center / trail? If it's a center official, it's the same official, which is great. So it's a crew-to-crew thing. So last second shot, it's the opposite table in a 3-person crew, center or trail. In a 2-person crew, it's the trail official. Communicate that, remind each other. Clock responsibilities. It is all officials' responsibility to understand clock status, to understand when a whistle is blown, how much time is on the clock when that whistle blows. So if we need to put time back on, everybody's responsible for it, not just one official. All officials are responsible for clock at the end of the game. And then crazy game, crazy atmosphere, have an exit strategy. All right, guys, we're going to go out the court in this door. A lot of gyms have multiple doors you could go out. Some gyms only have one door to go out for officials to go to your locker room. Have a plan so you exit quickly, make eye contact with the scorer, everything's confirmed, and get out of there. Don't keep yourself in the middle of fans rushing the court or any unsporting behavior. All right, Premier Sports officials assigning. I am in the very beginning stages here on October 12th of getting a state tournament official who has attended a PSOA preseason meeting, either live, online, or they let me know they watched this video. Once I get one state tournament official on every single varsity game, I am now going to look at resumes. How long has officials been working? How long have they been working with Premier Sports Officials Association? I think there's something to reward officials who have loyalty with us. And then professionalism, their previous work. Are they positive communicators with partners? Are they positive communicators with coaches? Are they positive communicators with athletic directors? And when they accept an assignment, they're on time, very little turnbacks, and they're not going to do that horse trading if they find a better game. All right, so that's what I look for in my varsity officials. And I want to mix in newer officials to varsity who make the varsity team to get that experience at the varsity level while being with veteran officials, a state tournament official and the second official who has been with PSOA. They know our team expectations. So that's really my goal with varsity games this year. State tournament official on every game, a veteran official with PSOA in the state of Nebraska, and then mixing in the new officials that make the varsity cut. Sub-varsity, again, question was, do I register NSAA? Do I not? Another bonus from registering NSAA. You get the rules book, case book, mechanics manual. I also am going to use you on sub-varsity games before somebody who does not register with NSAA. I will start assigning sub-varsity games in November. All right, I'm going to let the staff work out. I want to fill our varsity games first. All right, now let's fill sub-varsity games with those who need the reps at high school level. If you're new to varsity, I can't explain enough how important it is to work sub-varsity games. Yes, it's not the varsity team, but just like those players at JV, you need to learn the X's and O's of that program. You need to learn the rules. You need to learn the mechanics. You need to learn the positive communication in sub-varsity games, because those varsity coaches see you work sub-varsity games. Build that rapport, build that trust, build that facial recognition with that coach. They saw you on JV games. They saw you hustle. They saw you communicate well. They're glad you're on varsity games now. So that's how I'm going to assign sub-varsity games. Youth. So this is middle school. So we have Millard Middle Schools. We got Omaha Public School Middle Schools. We'll have Ralston Middle School. And we'll have some out of town within half hour, 45 minutes, depending on where you live in Omaha. Those will be open to self-assign. NSAA certified officials have a higher rank. If you have availability, you're going to have more chances to work games. Middle school games start at 3:30 in the afternoon. If you work till 5, it's hard to work that 3:30 tip. All right, so but youth is going to be self-assigned. If you're a new official, you will not have self-assigned right away. You have to earn it through the education process. Attending the rules meetings or watching the rules meetings online, upcoming, attending the 2-hour on-court training session. And then the officials who are returning, if you've been with PSOA, you have good rapport, you have a good reputation. You're going to have a rank to see all games, and you could sign up for as many games as you want. Where officials who don't have as much positive communication, or we have had issues before, we want to give you the opportunity to improve, to develop, to become a better official. All right, so instead of you being able to pick up 20 games a day, you might be able to pick up 5 games a day. When it comes to self-assign, if you have any questions on, hey, I'm only able to pick up so many, why? Or why can't I see games 60 days out in advance? Most of the times because we don't have the schedules out 60 days in advance. Reach out to me. I'll have the conversation, and it might be a clerical error on my side. I have to change your rank. I have to change your self-assigned setting. So I do make mistakes. I wish I was perfect, but I'm nowhere near perfect. So if you feel like you should be able to see more games, you're not seeing enough games, let me know. If you're able to see a ton of games, only take the amount of games you are willing to work, and you're going to be able to be a positive communicator and utmost professionalism. I would not expect a player to play 8 basketball games in a day. If you do work 8 basketball games in a day, I would expect you somehow, some way to get a break. We shouldn't be working 8 to 12 games in a row. Will officials do it? Yes, but it's very difficult to do it consistently. So don't make a habit of that too much, because it will deter away from that positive communication, professionalism, and competing the best we can be in one day. All right, our assigners this year, whenever you need to just send a message to all the assigners, PSOA at premiersportsofficials.com. All right, the key word here is assigners. Myself, Matt Krause, Jeff Kopetsky, we have no problem assigning. It is a thankless job a lot of times. It is time consuming, but we are assigners. We should not be reassigners. It's very difficult for you to just call, text, email us on a Friday night, Saturday night saying you can't work an 8 a.m. game the next day. All right. Does it happen? Does life happen? Yes, we get it. We understand it. But if it consistently happens, I know there's bad luck in life, but not consistently. So, number one, if you have the ability to find your replacement, it is okay to say, Sean, Matt, Jeff, PSOA at premiersportsofficials.com. I can't make my 8 o'clock game tomorrow morning. I'll be there by 9. I have this official who could work my 8 a.m. game. 99% of the time we'll be like, all right, thank you, we're good. We'll communicate if we need to communicate. We'll swap it out in arbitersports.com. If you could find your own sub with somebody who's in PSOA, let us know. We'll switch it out. If I think there's going to be a conflict of interest, I might switch courts. All right, but again, most of the time, if we find our own replacements, it's a yes, thank you for being professional and getting your games covered. But if life does happen, go to PSOA at premiersportsofficials.com because it goes to all three of us. If you only text one of us, we're on the court, we're driving, we might say, hey, please email PSOA at premiersportsofficials.com. Don't take offense to that. It's just that that person you contacted can't take care of it right now, or maybe one of the other two can. So that's going to be our main communication is that email. Any complaints, please find me. I am the complaint department, and we'll work things out. So our rates this year, youth basketball men's league, 2 officials, $30 per game. So this is our raise for the season for basketball. All right, so $5 more per game for youth level, and strongly encourage, if you allow PSOA have first shot at getting games, I try to get our schedules out 10 days in advance. I try to get youth organizations to get me the skeleton schedule 2 weeks in advance. That gives us now 2 days to input the schedule in the Arbiter Sports. It gives our self-assigned officials 2 days to pick up those games. And those last 10 days, we start filling in via availability, new officials with veteran officials. Start making phone calls, start making text messages, send out our weekly email of here is the remaining games open next weekend. So $30 per game per official for youth. And we try to get as many people on these $30 per games as we possibly can, because I know you have options to work elsewhere. But if you have the ability to make more money per hour, we're going to do everything we can to fill that need. Middle school is the same. So Millard, Ralston, all the outer town, it's $40 per official per game. So if you go and work a C, B, and A game, that's $120 in a small town. If you work 2 games in Millard, that's $80 in town. All right, so a lot of the small towns, they do have 3 games, so that's sort of the bonus of traveling. In town typically has an A and a B, $80. OPS is $60 for 2 games. The reason for that is the second game is running clock. All right, so it's going to be 2 hours, $30 an hour. It meets that $30 per official for youth, where the other middle schools, it's stop clock. So you're there for a longer period of time. So we try to honor and respect your time because there's more time for warm-ups in between games. So we respect that. Sub-varsity, $60 per official per game. A lot of times JV, it's 1 game, $4.30 tip, $60. Maybe you could get another JV game later in the night in Omaha. So as long as you have Arbiter updated, we could work that out. Varsity basketball, 3 officials, $90 for a single game, and $150 for 2 games. Okay, so that is our rates for this year. And we're going to end this video with this QR code. As we said earlier in the video, to sign up for a team, you have to go to a website. You have to go to a meeting. You have to do something to interact with that organization to sign up for that basketball team. This is how you sign up with the Premier Sports Officials Association basketball team. Use your phone. Use this QR code. If your phone does not allow you to scan this code and open up the Google form, email me. I will email you the Google form. You could go to our Facebook page. We've posted it a couple times on our Facebook page on PSOA as well. And link will be in the description of this video. So go back to the video, go back to the description, and click on the Google link there. Another way to get to the Google form. But all it is, it's filling out the Google form for a whistle. Whether it's at our next 3 education meetings, or if it's at our 3-person training, or if somebody's there on site with a PSOA whistle to give you with the 2-hour on-court training. If you like and subscribe our YouTube channel, you get a PSOA whistle and a Fox 40 lanyard. So please find time to subscribe and like. Find time to pick up your whistle, completely free. If you would like a PSOA undershirt, if you would like PSOA shorts to use during youth basketball, we are selling them for $15 a piece. Again, we'll always have them at all of our meetings. We'll have them all at our socials. Football officials, we have our social coming up October 29th at DJ's Dugout. We will have our shirts and shorts for sale there. So thank you for taking time out today to listen to this meeting. If you have any questions over any of the agenda items of NSAA registration, high school test, high school video, purchasing uniform and equipment, where and what to buy, our assigning process, the new rules, and then our contracts and rates, please reach out to me at psoa@premiersportsofficials.com.